Welcome, UCL fans, to the mid-season analysis for the United Championship League off-season Little Cup tournament. We are 3 weeks in, and with only 3 more weeks before the playoffs, I want to take a look at the different teams involved, look at the mons that they have brought, strategies involved, different things like that. So we're going to first take a look at the brackets. We did a video earlier where we covered the Johto Division, and now we're going to take a look into the Johto Divisions. So, if you are excited, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know what you think and who you believe will be making it into the playoffs for it. So, first off, we'll take a look at the teams here between the Tucson Terrakions, Carolina Keldios, Toronto Togekiss, and the Bronx Beartics. So let's take a look first at the Tucson Terrakions, currently 1-2. The differential scores I have in there are just for my own personal use. They don't actually have any reflection on who will make it in the event of a tie. If the event of any teams actually tying, they will actually have a one-on-one battle with the team captain. So, Tucson Terrakions, of course, has brought Dano every single week, probably will bring their team captain. You have Porygon, who's had probably the best success of the Tucson Terrakions, trying to help them win. Hasn't actually survived all 3 weeks, but is averaging 2 kills a week with it. Honedge, who was only brought twice, is averaging a little more than 1 kill a week on it, definitely doing well. Mime Jr. has put in a lot of surprise to the Tucson Terrakions in its abilities for it. Only Pokemon that have not been brought so far from the Tucson Terrakions have been the Venipede and the Gulpin on it. So, if anything, I think for future might try and bring something with it, especially considering that I believe the Bronx Beartics have the ability to bring toxic spikes, and Gulpin would be the only thing that can really absorb them for. Or no, wait. Not them, no. I'm thinking of a different team from them, but maybe more with the Toronto Togekiss, being able to set up something with them, but has been trying a lot with Spinnerack to set up hazards, but hasn't really had a lot of success doing that. So might be better off skipping the hazards for the next half of the season, trying to set up the sticky web, even though it's what would help Dano outspeed just about anything on the rest of the in the rest of this division for it. But might not be able to bring Dano then for the rest of it, and just have to rely on other strategies. It's really hard to see what's going to end up happening. Like I said, Porygon has definitely been the big MVP of the team so far. It's just had a lot of bad luck being burned, as well as it gets burned a lot from different things, and that just keeps whittling it down. I think all 3 weeks it's actually succumbed to burn status. That's a special attacker, so it doesn't hurt that part of it, but at the same time it just makes it harder and harder to actually survive longer for it. So definitely expect to see Porygon the rest of the weeks. Could definitely see Dano. Spinnerack, maybe they might consider changing up their strategies, just because they have not been able to successfully start off with sticky web usage. But who knows what will end up happening. Up next, we have the Carolina Keldios, 2-1 so far, defeating the Tucson Terrakions and the Toronto Togekiss. Biggest MVP so far have been Elekid, Carvana, and Tortuga, actually. Tortuga has gotten the Skull Burn off on the Porygon. That helped secure their win for it. Elekid actually did the most work in the last battle they had, which helped them get a lot of their kills for it. Carvana also doing pretty decently as well with it. Has really brought, a good mixture of all of their team with it. Only mons not brought so far have been Poliwag and Esper, due to them already having Tortuga on there, and Carvana already have 2 decent water types that have already put in a lot of work. I don't foresee Poliwag coming. Esper, probably not going to be seeing coming too often, unless they have, because there's not a lot of fighting types, few poison types on Tucson Terrakion side of things, but that would be the only time that I would actually see Esper be brought to a battle for them. But otherwise, not really seeing too much else for it. But definitely have playoff contentions. They just have to at least beat the Bronx Beartics once, and of course defeat the Tucson Terrakions and Toronto Togekiss again. So there's always that possibility. that brings us to the Toronto Togekiss, currently 0-3. Only way to really make it into the finals would be, or into the semifinals, I should say, would be if they defeat all three teams as well as the other two teams defeating the Bronx Bearticks. It's very unlikely. I mentioned this in my last video. It's very unlikely, possible, but very unlikely to happen. Right now, one of their leading knockout members has been Munchlax, has been brought all three times. You also have, they really haven't made a whole lot of dents. I mean, Togepi was brought one time, had 2 knockouts. Numel also had 2 knockouts, was brought 2 times. Electrike has been brought in all 3 battles, as well as Abra, and a lot of people, like, on paper, this is probably one of the best well-rounded teams in the entire off-season, but yet they just can't seem to come up with the right strategy to actually pull out a win. So, working a little bit harder, they might still be able to. Only mons that have not made it to battle so far have been the Trubbish and the Nidoran female. They still have a possibility. Maybe they just have to come up with better strategies or counter strategies for the remainder of the teams involved. Like I said, there's a chance they could make it into the playoffs. It just requires a lot of scenarios to go off to actually make it. So, can it be done? Yes. Will it be? Your guess is as good as mine for it. But we're going to move on to the division leader right now, which is the Bronx Bearticks. Currently, with their best MVP being Shelder, with 7 knockouts so far. And has been brought all 3 weeks, has only been knocked out twice. Second into them with Teddy Ursa and Growlithe, both being 4-2 right now. But of course, Shelder is leading this entire division in knockouts. Second only, Porygon being second with 6 knockouts so far. Has been really impressive. Zorua, their team captain, has been brought all 3 times, but in 2 of the 3 battles, which would be the battles that it was not knocked out in, has not even been sent out into play. So we don't even know who they're trying to disguise Zorua as for it. Was very interesting to see that. Makes me wonder why they keep bringing Zorua every week if they're not even going to send it out into battle to try and trick somebody into what they think they're actually battling with it. It'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. I mean, they are currently, of course, leading the division, have one of the highest killing mons, with Shelder being 7-2 right now throughout it. Have the best chances of making it out of this bracket and facing off, of course, the winner of the Johto Division for them. But, like I said, it's possible they could end up having to go down to a, 1v1 or even a free-for-all battle with all the teams involved to try and make it out of the bracket. It's very unlikely. The only scenario I could definitely see happening would be if Carolina Keldeos win the next 3 weeks. The Bronx Bearticks win, of course, against the Tucson Terrakions and Toronto Togekiss, have a one-on-one battle with Elekid and Zorua, in which case I believe that Elekid would win, having the Carolina Keldeos make it into it. But that requires Carolina to first beat the Bronx Bearticks. Now, that won't happen until, that match won't take place until week 5, I believe, for it, because, of course, they still have to go through the battles they had for the first 3 weeks all over again. So that's going to go ahead and wrap up our Johto mid-season analysis video. If you did enjoy, please leave it a thumbs up. Let me know which one of these teams you think will make it into the playoffs as well. So thank you all very much for watching. Take care and good night.